I had a secret affair with my husband's youngest brother during my time studying abroad, and it lasted until dawn. It's a story I've been too embarrassed to share with anyone, but I'll post it here on this forum. I live in a single-family house. Yesterday, as I was cleaning up the earthworms that had come out of the flower bed because of the rain, I heard the front gate open and someone approaching. Then, a familiar, gentle voice called out, "Hey sis, I'm home for the break." Startled, I turned around to see Thomas, my husband's youngest brother, who had come home from studying abroad. He calls me sis. Oh my, look who it is. Thomas, you should have told me you were coming home, I exclaimed. I wanted to surprise the most beautiful sister in the world. How have you been? I hugged Thomas tightly, thrilled to see him after a year. Thomas, who is 12 years younger than me, has always adored me like an older sister ever since I started dating my husband. When I got married, Thomas was just an elementary school student, and now he's been studying abroad. How is my brother? Are you two still living happily together? Thomas asked innocently. I didn't know how to respond. I had found another phone in my husband's car and discovered he was having an affair. When confronted, he packed his things and left without a word, only transferring money for living expenses. I couldn't bring myself to tell Thomas about our situation. Your brother has been very busy with work lately, pulling all-nighters and staying at a business hotel nearby, I said, covering up the truth. Oh, my poor sister, living alone. How do you cope with the loneliness? But is my brother really that busy? Thomas asked skeptically. Enough of that. Let's go inside and talk, I said, grabbing his hand and leading him into the house. I gave him some fresh clothes to change into. Thomas mentioned that he had started going to the gym in the country he was studying in. Looking at himself in the mirror, he proudly showed off his muscles, and I felt a strange sense of pride. It meant he was adapting well despite the challenges of studying abroad. After a quick shower, Thomas emerged looking quite masculine. I cooked some meat I had bought from the market that morning for him, knowing he must be tired from the long flight. Although he said the house felt a bit strange, he seemed content eating the warm meal I prepared. Thank you for the meal, sis, he said with a wink, making my heart flutter. Odd, isn't it? I never expected Thomas to turn out to be such a wonderful man, she chuckled to herself. Even before her husband had begun an affair with another woman, they had shared the same space but lived as strangers. Thomas had seemed upset when his brother wouldn't even answer his calls. Busy with work, as it seemed. Whether it was when you came to get our parents' blessing for your marriage or now, nothing seems to have changed. What's your secret? It's embarrassing to receive such compliments. Just for making a meal. I've known you since I was a kid. There really is no one quite like you. Beautiful, hardworking, takes good care of herself. But I've yet to meet a woman like that, haha. Despite the warmth of Thomas's compliments lifting her spirits, she felt utterly dismal about her situation, unable to utter a single word about her estranged husband. Not normally one to drink, she ended up sharing a can of beer with Thomas. I'm going to head in and sleep now. The jet lag's going to hit me hard. But I think I need to try to sleep, he said. All right. Sleep well. I won't wake you in the morning, so rest up, she replied. Watching Thomas walk away stirred something within her, a peculiar feeling. Perhaps it was because she had finished a can of beer for the first time in her life. But once she lay in bed, sleep eluded her. Thomas was just a few steps away, healthy and sound. Yet, sleep seemed more elusive than ever tonight. Then she felt oddly cold. She knocked on Thomas's door, saying, "I suddenly feel so chilly. We've run out of medicine, and I'm too scared to go to the convenience store alone. I'm really sorry, but I think I need to take something and go to sleep. Could you come with me?" It seemed cleaning the yard unnecessarily in an attempt to clear her mind had backfired due to the rain cooling the air. Thomas immediately offered to go buy Tylenol. However, feeling guilty for waking him, she insisted they go together. The wet ground made the road slippery, and she nearly fell, but Thomas caught her hand. "I didn't realize you were feeling unwell, and here I am, having enjoyed a meal. I'm sorry," he said, his presence feeling incredibly reassuring as he bought her Tylenol. After taking the medicine, she quickly fell asleep. How much time had passed? She felt refreshed. Maybe it was the beer, but she got up to use the bathroom and saw Thomas coming out. "How are you feeling, my pretty sister? I'll be resting all day tomorrow, so make sure to get some good sleep," he said before heading back to his room. Lying in bed, her mind was clearer than ever. She felt embarrassed for harboring strange feelings towards her husband's brother. Yet, she couldn't help thinking that if today passed, there might never be another chance. I disliked myself for harboring inappropriate thoughts about Thomas, who is much younger than me. I was already awake and headed to the kitchen for a warm cup of water, contemplating sleep. Our house, being old, made the doors creak loudly. I carefully opened the door, trying not to wake Thomas, but he seemed to have been woken by the sound and came out to the living room. Upon seeing me again, he said, "Sis, it's okay if we sleep later. Let's talk. It's not like you to drink, but seeing you finish a whole can makes me wonder, is there something going on with you and brother-in-law?" In that moment, I felt a desire to rely on Thomas. I told him about what had been happening between my husband and me, and Thomas said he would contact my husband when the day broke. Thomas, who warmly hugged me as I cried about feeling betrayed by my husband, after 10 years of marriage, made me feel a spark. We tossed and turned for a while and ended up waking late in the morning. Thomas's embrace was so warm, but then the thought that we had done something terribly wrong crossed my mind. I asked Thomas, "Should we really be doing this? What do we do now?" Thomas replied, "Sis, the truth is, the moment I stepped into the yard, I thought you were so beautiful I couldn't help but feel differently, but it was tough hiding those feelings. Actually, I was supposed to go to bed after dinner, but I couldn't sleep. I was really happy when you said you were going out to buy Tylenol. Now that we know how we feel about each other, let's just think about us for a while." Thomas spent his days meeting friends and his nights in my room. He said it was his first time, but things progressed. I never imagined that Thomas, whom I only saw as a child, would come into my life during the hardest time and comfort me. On the day Thomas left the country, I chased him to the airport to give him some pocket money. He surprised me with a shirt in my favorite style, which he had prepared at some point. Whenever I missed Thomas, I wore that shirt and took photos. My husband showed no signs of remorse, and we became strangers. Though I am alone now, I have no intention of dating. Thomas plans to study abroad for a few more years, so it seems unlikely we will meet again. Nonetheless, I am grateful to Thomas for giving me memories like a dream. In the midst of summer,